Hey everyone, good morning. It's Facebook Live time. Today's Tuesday, and we are going to talk about Amazon. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of selling on Amazon, and we're also going to compare it to Etsy and, of course, having your own website. So I'm excited about today's topic because I thought about it this morning and I said, well, a majority of the sellers in my group do sell on Amazon, and that's great. I love it. You'll see why in a moment. There's obviously certainly definitely some cons to it, and you guys are more than welcome to say what you feel those are or the pros. But I know there's a lot of members in the group that are new to selling online or newer and don't sell on Amazon for whatever reason. And then here's the thing. I'm gonna give you some examples of some pros and cons. Okay, we're gonna compare it to Etsy and Amazon. Etsy and .com. But I certainly won't be going over all of them because there's probably millions. What I want you to do is ask questions and say, hey, I heard this, or hey, this is what I think. And we'll definitely discuss it. Because I know, and I can just even say one randomly that I thought of, that people think is a con, but I don't think it's so bad, okay? And you'll see that there's many more cons to selling on Amazon than there is pros as far as numbers, right? There's like X amount of pros, much more cons, but you know, the value of the pros I think outweigh the cons. You'll see in a moment. Okay, so let's get started. Pros and cons of selling on Amazon. When I tell you the pros and cons of selling on Amazon, I'm gonna start with the pros and then I'll go into the cons. However, every time I go into a pro, I'm gonna compare it to Etsy and .com. Okay, this Facebook Live is really the people I had in mind were people that were newer online. Pretty much people that have not considered selling on Amazon or on the fence of it. This Facebook Live is definitely for you. And even if you do sell on Amazon already, that's great. I think you should still join this Facebook Live, but just so you know how it compares compared to Etsy and .com. And you already know that. So if you just want to stick around, that'd be fun. All right, so let's get started, okay? I'm gonna go into pros like I said in the beginning, okay? So the first pro to selling on Amazon is there are a large number of buyers, okay? A large number of buyers. So what does that mean for you? When you start selling your products on Amazon, the chance is highly like that your items will sell compared to, let's say, other platforms. Etsy, right? I mean, you know, there are millions and millions of buyers. And the ratio compared to Etsy is a huge ratio gap, okay? The potential, really, a huge number of buyers means potential to make more money. The potential of making more money is much more great, right? And so the fact that if you decide not to sell on Amazon or you're unsure, you're really missing out on that potential. They have a large number of buyers. And the reality is, and this can go into other pros technically, but I'll mention it. It's important to understand why they have a large number of buyers, okay? Amazon obviously has been around for a while. They are a trusted source. People trust them to purchase from. Even though we're fulfilling the orders, our company, not Amazon, they have, I guess, made the customer trust them because they put customer service as their first priority. And every pro and con that we're going to talk about today really has a lot to do with that. Amazon has, you know, been very careful to make sure that their sellers and everything on that platform perform a certain way to keep buyers happy, to keep them on the platform. That's how they make money. So it's important to understand that because Amazon is a beast in a good way, and they made customer service a number one priority, buyers will flock to it. And if your products are on it, they will hopefully flock to you, okay? We'll talk about other pros and, you know, cons about it later, but that's really the blanket statement of it. And so if you're not selling on there already, I ask you why not, and I want you to actually answer that question because I definitely want to discuss some of this because, you know, some of the pros and cons I'm going to discuss is not going to cover some of your questions. I get that. So go ahead and comment down below and get to your questions in a moment, okay? So that's that. Now let's compare it to Etsy and Amazon. For Etsy, it's, in my opinion, it's like a pro and con. Etsy is not as large as Amazon. We know that. And so when it comes to comparison, it's a con, but when it comes to .com, it's a pro because they do have their set buyers that go to Etsy and then shop within Etsy. Okay, that's how you're getting found currently, okay? Not because you're a genius at driving traffic. You may be, but if you're not, that's why you're getting found, okay? And so I consider it a pro and con when comparing it to Etsy. And you already heard what I said about .com. In .com, it's a con because you need to drive your own traffic, okay? You know, people, I honestly don't get it. If you could help me understand, but I don't get people when they open a .com and they're upset that nobody's coming to it. I'm like, what did you think is going to happen? Did you really think it's going to be just like the Amazon and Etsy platform where people come, somehow they're going to magically find you? No, I mean, you thought people were going to search and find you? Yeah, that's how they would find you, right, amongst other ways. But it's a lot more harder work. So technically, in this case, having a large number of buyers, etc., pretty much traffic coming to their website, comparing it to your .com, it is a con. You have to drive your own traffic. And now, if you're a genius at driving traffic, right, you've done a whole bunch of things. And of course, we're always building our methods, right? I'm driving traffic to my .com now. In a year from now, hopefully it's a lot more, right? That's cool. It's a snowball effect. But nonetheless, if you are currently driving traffic, then maybe it's not such a con, but certainly you have to work at driving that traffic, okay? So again, the first pro to selling on Amazon, large number of buyers because of how Amazon built this platform. They got these customers to trust, okay? Morning, I've had my Amazon shop for a few months. Have 30 items, only one sale. Same product sell good on Etsy. I wonder if could shop location influence buyers. Most of my buyers are from US. I wonder if you're in Lithuania. I wonder if Amazon buyers are spoiled for quick ship. We'll get to that question in a moment. But to answer it quickly, I want people to be able to answer these questions later because I want to go over the pros and cons initially because I want to be able to do it in a more seamless manner, the pros and cons. Okay, next pro of selling on Amazon. They have a variety of items that's sold on there. So your items can most likely fit in there. So even if your items are fairly unique, there may still be a market on Amazon, okay? Now, and I say that compared to a lot of other platforms or compared to anything really because Amazon's one of the largest marketplaces online. A variety of items that you could sell that you have created could probably fit on Amazon. They're probably not all the time, but there probably is a market for it. When I say not all the time, meaning yes, there are some markets on Amazon that don't sell as well. Everything's in your favor. So really, more than likely, what you're selling will have a demand on Amazon, have a decent demand on Amazon, in my opinion, okay? Now, let's compare it to Etsy. Because that's just simple, right? That's a pro. You could probably fit your products into there and sell it. For Etsy, it's considered a con because in comparison to Amazon, one, you can sell a variety of products on Etsy. That's great. But when comparing it to Amazon, it's not quite the same variety. Obviously, much larger marketplace, and Etsy does not allow for non-handmade items besides supplies and vintage. Okay, so in the event there are some sellers in this group that want to ever venture out to non-handmade items, that's fine. I mean, as long as you don't sell it on Etsy. You can't sell it on Etsy, right? So if you venture out into drop shipping or, buying, wholesale and reselling it or whatever, then you run into a problem. You can't sell it on Etsy, but you could absolutely sell it on Amazon. Obviously, maybe not handmade on Amazon, but you get the point, okay? So you could definitely expand your business on Amazon because of the product type that you're allowed to sell on there. On Etsy, it's a con. You cannot. However, considering only handmade products, it has a decent variety. So in that case, it's a pro for that reason. Otherwise, in general, it's a con, okay? Now, compared to .com, it's really a pro because you can sell whatever you want on your .com. You control it. But there's no market there already on your .com when you first build it. You have to create that market. You have to create that traffic, those buyers. So you can sell everything from A to Z. Okay, but it won't matter if you don't bring people to it for that type of product. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and piggyback on that and say, don't sell everything from A to Z on your .com. Make sure it's branded. Make sure it fits within your target market, etc. and so forth. Okay, David is right. Amazon is absolutely a beast. Okay, Lindsay's asking, my industry is really seasonal and sales don't pick up again until September. Since I'm a brand new seller, should I wait to list products? I'm worried that if my listings aren't selling until then, I might get buried by Amazon's algorithm. You can't really get buried if nobody else is really selling, right? That same market. So it doesn't matter. You're in the same playing field as other people selling your product. So list as soon as you can. Unless I misunderstood that question, Lindsay. Next pro. Okay, this is the last pro that I have. There's obviously some more pros, probably, I could assume. I mean, the things I mentioned earlier really could venture out into other pros. Having large number of buyers means large income potential. That's a pro, right? But you get the point. So another pro is when selling on handmade, you have a variety of variations and customization options to make it easy for the customer to check out. If you're selling on that handmade section. You guys know in the listing process. Absolutely love it. There's a variety of options you could choose from so people could click on it. You have a field where you could type in text. You could choose from a list of options. You could upsell and increase pricing with it. You could even have them type in the option that they want. It's really a fantastic. You can even have them put numbers in. It's a fantastic thing. And you can have many, not just 2. Love that. Makes people easy to check out. Conversions will be higher because of it. Nobody's left confused as to what to do. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and segue that into Etsy. Etsy is a con when comparing it. Yeah, they have 2 variations, but come on, Etsy. I mean, 2 variations, it sucks. Okay. If the Etsy genie came and it's like, hey, what do you wish? I would probably wish for another variation, preferably a field to type in. If not, still another variation. Okay. To upsell for my personal market, for my personal listings. And so they only have 2 Etsy, so it's definitely a con. However, for people that have been on Etsy long enough, I don't know if you remember, they used to have none. I still remember when they launched variations, I was like, oh, right? It was fantastic, okay? Before we had to rely on the notes to seller section. Like it seems so, if I may say this, you guys know I love Etsy. That it does okay for me, like everything's fine. If I may say this, it is so juvenile of a website to have to not have these fields. When Amazon I know Amazon has a lot more resources, I know that. But when Amazon first rolled out the handmade section, they really gave it to us. Like they really gave us, I mean, it was fantastic. And so Etsy still has not kept up yet. And like, when are you gonna give us a personalization field? Can we make it happen like yesterday? Like, I mean, listen, I don't know. I personally am not a programmer. I don't know what it takes particularly. Well, I do actually, but I don't know what it takes on such a large, heavy duty platform. So maybe, maybe it's more work than I think it is, but they really need to get on it. I mean, if their programmers can get on it that quick, then they have the wrong priorities. Okay, I'm sure it affects conversion rate. So anyway, enough about Etsy, but it is a con. Okay, on your .com, it's a pro because you control it. Okay, you control what variation you pick on there for the most part, depending on what platform you sell on, whether it be WordPress using WooCommerce, Shopify, or Squarespace, or whatever. You have to make sure you pick a theme that works for your product type. And that gives you the freedom to put in certain variations for your product. And so that's great. I think it's a pro, but you have to kind of figure it out, right? You have to figure out how to do it. And with the theme that you have, so it's like a plug and play on your side. Absolutely, it's a pro for Amazon, that handmade section, that they actually have these features, Now, if you're not selling on handmade on Amazon, they do have, I'm at a loss of words here. You're able to pick, put in variations of different sizes, different colors. People could pick and match, mix and match and choose. So I think that's fantastic as well. Okay. When it comes to places other than my website, Stacy says, I've decided to shift my focus from Etsy to Amazon over the next couple of months. Interested to see what difference in sales will be. Not going to get rid of my Etsy shop, but letting it run on autopilot while working harder on Amazon. Here's the thing. If you're not selling on Etsy yet or have not really given it the time it deserves, give it the time it deserves and then move on. Why? Because yes, in comparison, Amazon's a much larger platform, so give it the time it deserves. I mean, if it's making more money for you or potential to make more money, then give it the time it deserves. And I'm always a big supporter of .com, so making sure that you do work on your .com alongside it, because .com will only work if you do. That's just the reality of it. And maybe a little bit harder, but the reward is much better because it's something that you own. Okay. Phyllis, what do you do about not putting your shop on vacation mode if you don't have an assistant and you're on vacation for a week? Should you just maybe change your shipping time in the announcement section so you keep driving traffic to your shop and pick up when you're back? For me, my husband would work in it. If my husband's not here and we're all on vacation, or if you don't have somebody else that's trained, then I would increase the processing times a good amount. And then halfway in the middle of the vacation on Amazon, I actually change them midway. And when I come back, I change them again. I know it's a lot of work, but we could do it fairly quickly. Okay, now we're going to go into the cons of selling on Amazon. This is probably what you're waiting for because you want to understand the cons of it. However, when I talk about the cons, and of course I'll compare it to Etsy and .com, I'm also going to give my personal opinion beside it being a con. The first con, okay, lost or delivered packages that actually don't make it. So those delivered packages that say delivered but nobody has received it. So lost or delivered packages is your fault on Amazon, okay? So it's a con, okay? Because you're like, well, I didn't deliver it. It's not my fault. Those damn post workers, they didn't really deliver it, whatever. It is still your fault, meaning you still have to help the customer, whether you refund them, resend it, what have you. In my personal opinion, it's up in the air what I think about actually delivered packages that say delivered but are not delivered. That's irrelevant at this moment. I can get into it. But the ones that are lost, I really do feel it's on our responsibility. Certainly, it wasn't us that lost it; it was the post office. But it certainly isn't the customer's fault. So, we're the one that chose USPS to ship. It's the least bit of the customer's fault compared to ours. So I go ahead and replace that. So yes, it's a con that they put the blame on you, but the reality is I would still probably replace it. And when you compare it to Etsy, it's a pro and con, because the reality is if the package is lost, if it just stopped moving, you will need to replace it. More likely if they put a claim or a case on you, which you want to avoid, they're going to win. If it says delivered, but it didn't get delivered, who knows what that, if that's true or not, it doesn't matter. You don't need to replace it, okay? And according to the experience I've seen amongst other sellers, you don't need to replace it. The case closes out, okay? But just know that you want to prevent a case from going against you. When somebody opens a case against your shop, one, it could ding you, right? So X amount of cases it could shut down your shop. There's no magic number, just FYI. And it also could hurt your position in search results, okay? You're already probably being hurt as we currently speak, but it could probably even hurt you more. So FYI, all right? For .com, it's a pro. You make your own rules. However, like I said before, make your own rules. Don't just live off the edge of your seat, right? Make your own rules about what happens with lost packages. What happens with delivered packages that don't actually get delivered? What's the process? If you don't have a process, you could obviously wait till something like this happens to figure out what you're going to do. It could be a case-by-case basis. I don't know, but figure out your process, okay? But the reality is, on your website, you are the boss, not Amazon, not Etsy. You're the boss. But the reality is, if you decide your rules are not so customer service friendly, I am judging you, but you could do whatever you want. You will have issues keeping repeat customers and having people talking about you in social media. It could cause for a major issue. So while it is a pro on your .com because you're controlling it, make sure you have rules that not just protect your business, but really put the customer first. Okay, that's how you're going to win. Okay, so let's see here. Did we miss what I said regarding shipping and delivered and lost packages, the pros and cons? It's a con on Amazon because you can't control it regardless, even though I would still replace lost packages. It's a pro and con on Etsy, and then on your .com, you're the one that controls everything. So it's a pro. Okay, Michelle, I have a case open, and it did slow my shop down. Still open since the 13th, waiting for customer to return. Yeah, it sucks. I know. So let's go into the next con, okay, of selling on Amazon. I don't personally mind this con. Again, I'm putting my own personal opinion on this. I would love to hear your opinion on this, guys. Another con is your money does not get deposited immediately, okay? So your money will only be available in the funds section once you ship your order. Second you hit ship, that money becomes available. However, even after that, it only deposits every 2 weeks, okay? So it's on a 2-week schedule, not for every order you ship, but just like clockwork. For example, the 15th of the month and the 30th of the month. No matter how many you shipped, that's what you get deposited, okay? That could be really a big con for some people. I noticed that more often than not, I hear negative things about it. Maybe people want their funds immediately. I am going to say this nicely. I personally don't understand why, if you're running your business, a profitable business, there should be no need for you to need your funds immediately, unless you don't trust Amazon to give it to you, which I highly doubt. If you are the people that need your funds immediately to help fill orders, that's another issue. You don't have beef with Amazon not depositing your money earlier. You have beef with your own business not being profitable, okay? If you just started your business, I understand because you have barely any funds. But if you've been doing it and this is the issue, that's a big issue, okay? So your money doesn't get deposited immediately, it doesn't become available until you ship, okay? And again, I know there's some reasons why people have this issue. But for me personally, it does not bother me. Everything gets printed and shipped within a day, okay? Even if it was a few days or whatever, it doesn't matter to me because a 2-week deposit, it's fine by me. I definitely don't want it daily. That's annoying for bookkeeping. It's 2 weeks and I'm fine with it. But for people, it is definitely a con, okay? Now, on Etsy, it's technically a pro because you get it every week. However, I heard you could deposit it sooner if you request it. I may be mistaken, but I feel that's the actual case. So I heard it's a pro, okay? Now on your website, when comparing it to your website, it's absolutely a pro. If I'm not mistaken, depending on your payment processor that you use, you could get the funds immediately. When I say immediately, I mean like if you're using PayPal, it goes directly to your PayPal account. If you have a PayPal card, you can use it immediately. or you could get a transfer your bank account, which usually takes about a business day if you do it early enough. Okay, so immediately. However, if you're using other payment processors like Stripe or something, it may take a hot minute, a couple of days. But for the most part, I consider it a pro when you're selling on your own website, okay? Okay, I will not purchase from a shop that states once it leaves my hands, I'm not responsible. Yes, I absolutely agree with Erica. I've seen that before in people's shops, and I'm like, ugh, get out of here. There's too many people selling the stuff that you do that I don't need to buy from you. This is my biggest struggle. I'm doing a ton of volume, having to front about 1K per week in product without being paid. But, and I'm not talking just to Meg, but I'm talking to everybody. So if you're making this much money, right, because you're obviously fronting 1,000 a week to fill product, which obviously I'm assuming, you're selling it for much more than 1K. Why isn't there profits hanging out in your business account? I just don't understand that train of thought. I thought I would mind the 2-week delay for payment on Amazon, but I also used to daily on Etsy, but it worked out just fine. Like a larger payment every 2 weeks. Cool. More money if every 2 weeks. Woohoo, I won't mind. Okay, cool. You just have to budget and plan. It's been tough during the unexpected rushes, but we made it through. And that's fine. I don't know everybody's business model, but I don't understand why there's not enough funds. If you've been in business for a while, hanging out so you're able to use. Okay, let's see here. Do you print on demand or keep inventory and make your stuff? When I worked outside the home, I get paid every 2 weeks. My husband gets paid every 2 weeks. We just budget our finances. Etsy just has us spoiled, maybe. I don't do daily for Etsy. I think I just let it go on its own. Okay, so let's continue. The next con is strict rules regarding trademark and copyright. Okay. Now let me just make something clear. I think strict rules regarding trademark and copyright are necessary when somebody's actually breaking the law. If you're actually using trademarked terms that are not bogus, or using some intellectual property, then I think the strict rules are actually great. However, people abuse the system, both on Amazon, which is a con in this case, and on Etsy, which I'm about to get into in a second. But they definitely abuse the system, and that's a con, okay? And of course, having said so already, Etsy, it's a con because people do abuse the system in a huge way on Etsy, probably more than on Amazon. However, I found within the Amazon community, some people do abuse it in other ways, okay? And so for me, this is a con because the people out there that are trying to abuse the system. However, on .com, it's a pro. You control it. Now, yes, that person that you're using the intellectual property or blaming you for using intellectual property, they could absolutely go to your website host and file a complaint. I just know that it's a little harder, so usually the bogus claims won't come to you. Okay, so when you're on your own website, it's definitely a pro. Let's go to another con. This is a con, but I see some pro to this. Hear me out first. The con is that they track every metric imaginable on Amazon. Shipping on time, delivering on time, answering convos on time. I mean, there's a million things that they actually track, okay? Make sure that you put the tracking number on the packages, the percentage of number of packages that have tracking, etc. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts to this. Like, they track everything. And if you fall below a certain metric, your account's like gonna be like in timeout, And so that's definitely a con. The reason why I say this kind of a pro is to keep us in check, to make sure, and again, it's still a con because sometimes there's things that are uncontrollable. But the pro about it is that they keep us in check to make sure that we are top-notch sellers, on the Amazon platform, to keep buyers happy, to keep them shopping with Amazon, to keep Amazon platform alive and well, so we have more money in our pockets. You see how that kind of circle of life happened right there? So it's a con, yes, because they're like, really, really strict, but it helps us sellers in the end because it keeps people continuing to shop on Amazon. On Etsy, I consider it a pro when you compare it to Amazon. It's not so strict on all of that, okay? You don't have to answer comments on time. I still recommend you do so. I still recommend you do all of that, okay? And it's almost like Amazon's training you for a really great marathon. And then Etsy doesn't care about your marathon, So, even though it's really strict, it trains you, So, but if you don't deliver on time or ship on time, and you may get complaints that lead to cases, which obviously could then affect you. Okay, so it's kind of like a chain of events here on Etsy. So you make sure that even though they're not so strict on certain things, still do all those things. Still answer on time, still ship on time, still communicate, and you'll make happy customers, okay? On .com, I mean, it's no comparison. It's a pro. It's your gig. You could do what you want. There's nobody tracking your metrics, okay? for all of that. Again, it's on .com. You can make the rules, but it's probably some good rules to follow. That's why I think it's like a hidden pro. Okay. Another con: selling on Amazon. If you're still here, right? Hang tight, I have something to say about all these cons. I really do, so pay attention. Next con: you can't control the look of your shop and where things go. I mean, in my experience, there's no legit shop sections, okay? There's no highly visible branding. I mean, you can see that your shop name is XYZ, whatever. But people remember Amazon. They don't remember your brand, okay? And again, you can't organize things in a really shoppable manner, in my opinion, for Amazon. It's just like, I've successfully, and I think Jess will agree, we have a lot of people that shop within our store. Yes, they buy, more often than not, people will buy one item. That's the majority of the people. But we get a lot of people that buy multiple, and so they're shopping within our store, which is fantastic, okay? However, and we tried, we did a few things to help with that, okay? The reality is, there's little you can control about the look of your shop on Amazon or your listings on Amazon, okay? Obviously for me, they highly convert. It worked for Amazon, but nonetheless, it still doesn't give you control over branding, okay? They do put your brand name in several places, but otherwise it is it, okay? So it's considered a con. On Etsy, it's also a con. You guys know that Etsy, I feel like I've been stuck with Etsy's format for like ever, okay? And it's obviously, we have a banner. Yay, whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal for me. But the look of our shop is how it is. I think it's more shoppable than Amazon. We have shop sections, blah, blah. But Amazon highly converts compared to Etsy. So you do what you will with that information. However, I feel like we've been stuck for so long with that. And Etsy came out with a solution called Pattern. My opinion on that, I'll tell you right now, is don't go for Pattern. Because it was trying to tell you, just like, hey, you want your own look, you control your website, let's make it easy for you, pay me X amount of money a month, things like $15 a month, and we'll give you a pattern site. It's still an Etsy platform, so you don't really control it, even though I make you believe you do. This is Etsy talking, by the way. They give you this platform Pattern, and they give you several themes, if I'm not mistaken, and that's all fine and dandy. I haven't really looked at it too much, how the themes look, but the reality is they're trying to give you a platform that you could build and drive traffic to. But if you're going to work hard on driving your own traffic, drive it to your own website. You might say, Dahlia, but Etsy makes it so easy. I just do a couple of clicks and I have a pattern shop. And having your own .com is a little bit harder. Do the work. Trust me when I say this. Do the work. So yes, it might take you, I'm going to go ahead and say 50 more hours to figure out how to make your own website and blah, blah, blah. And even probably more than that. But it's better than having a pattern site by far. Okay? I hate to say this because it sounds really mean, but I'm highly against pattern sites. Okay? So for Etsy, it's a con. You also don't control much. It's a little bit more branded, but people, a lot of times, they remember Amazon much more than they do your brand. And for Etsy, it's a little bit less. Like they may remember your brand a little bit more than they do on Amazon, but nonetheless, they still remember Etsy, okay? On .com, guys, it's a pro. Okay, you pick a great theme. If you do, you customize it the way you want. So it could be highly shoppable. However, I've done, shop critiques, and I'm going to do another one very soon on my vlog. If you guys missed it, check out my vlog. On my YouTube channel. Just know that people could also mess up, having that much control can also mess up their own website as far as branding and easy to use and shoppable, etc. So just because you have your own website doesn't mean it's always a pro, right? But it can be the potential of making it a pro because you do have control, okay? So let's get into the last con. The last con is that they aren't your customers. They belong to Amazon. Sounds kind of like those crazy boyfriends that want to control you, right? This is Amazon, okay? They want to keep their customers to themselves, okay? And it makes sense for them because they worked hard on building that platform. They want people to continue to reach shopping. So they don't want you doing any fancy stuff to your packages to get people to shop on your .com. None of that, okay? So don't, okay? You don't want to break any rules. But nonetheless, that is a con because you're trying to build a brand here, You're trying to build a brand, and so bringing them off the Amazon platform would benefit you because they go to your .com or whatever, but Amazon doesn't want that, and so they are Amazon customers. Obviously, there are customers out there, my customers included, some of them put two and two together. They see my brand name, they naturally go to the .com. They just do. We see it all the time. They go to my chat function and they ask me a question, and funny story, not all of them, some of them still want to go back and shop on Amazon. They end up telling me that they have their credit card information saved on Amazon, so it makes it easier for them to shop. I'm like, yeah, you can go back to Amazon. I tell them, shop wherever you're comfortable, if they go to my chat feature. So On Etsy, it's technically a pro because you are allowed to get them to your email list to make them your customer. However, you cannot lure them away from the site, Etsy site, during that sale. So if they're trying to make a sale, they ask you a question, hey Dahlia, how much does come in the set? You can be like, it comes 10 in the set, buy it from my .com. You can't do that, okay? After they join your email list, you're more than welcome, like after they make that purchase, that initial purchase, for future purchases and you're marketing to them through email list is an example, social media is an example, you can definitely bring them to your .com. You don't have to bring them to Etsy. Let's say if you get them to join your Instagram, you can absolutely get them to bring them to your .com. Okay, so I still consider it a pro on Etsy. You know, they want Etsy to stay on Etsy, the customers stay on Etsy, but you have some freedom of getting them to your email list and following you in places, okay? On Amazon, you can't even tell them, follow you here, follow you there. They won't allow you to do it, right? On .com, it's a pro. Obviously, if they go to your .com, it is yours. It's always been yours. I mean, you don't own any customer, but certainly when they go to your .com, you know, just coming there is not by itself alone you saying that they're your customer. When they're a repeat customer or there's some way you communicate with them that makes them a repeat, then they're yours, right? And again, not in the, owning sense, but you know what I'm saying? So if somebody just happens to go on your website, they're not they're your customer, they came, but to make them your customer in the true sense, get them to follow you somewhere so you can market to them in the future, okay? But in the end of the day, on .com, it's a pro. So I said all the pros and cons here, okay? But let me say this. There's a lot more cons to selling on Amazon, as I mentioned, as far as numbers are concerned, meaning I think there are like 6 cons and 3 pros. And I'm sure there's more pros. If you guys have any, type them down below. Okay, so for those of you out there saying, I was thinking of selling on Amazon and this Facebook Live is making me not want to. Hold on. It's not what I said. Yes, in numbers, there are less pros than there are cons. But in weight of value, the word is not value. I'm using the wrong word here. Risk reward. There you go. Risk reward. The weight of these pros are much heavier, in my opinion, than the cons. Okay? And I think many of you who sell on Amazon would agree. And I will say this. Okay, this is kind of like, hey, side note. Before you start dreaming about all the things that Amazon can do for you, which, by the way, it can, there's some people that don't actually make it on Amazon, particularly because they're doing okay. They're not like, but because their product type is right for the customer on there. And it happens. It's okay. So I feel like the majority of our members are right for Amazon. However, not everyone is. There are some markets that are less popular than others. However, it's important. It's really important. Not only do you do the research to see how popular it is by searching for your type of product and seeing if there are reviews on the item, etc., blah, blah. It's important that you give it a chance. Because initially when Amazon Handmade rolled out, and I was like, who's going to buy? Let me just say this without sounding mean about myself. Who's going to buy overpriced stationery on Amazon, right? Where people care about prices and shipping, blah, blah. I gave it a try, and thank goodness I did. Okay, so you only owe it to your business self to give Amazon a try. You really have to. I think many people on here would agree. And I'll be honest, I was like, should I do this Facebook Live? Because the more people that join Amazon, the more competitors I have. And the reality is that there are people in this group who sell stationery like I do, who are like on my tail. This is my hand impression of on my tail, apparently, with some of the listings on certain searches. So what does that mean? That means I'm teaching my competitors directly on here to join Amazon to compete with me. Why would I do that? Well, that's kind of stupid, right? Because I want all the money to myself. But the reality is I'm the handmade mastermind, and that's what I do. And I also think there's plenty of money to go around. I mean, certainly would I like $5 million all to myself as opposed to $500,000, whatever? Sure. But I don't need it. And I really, and you guys know, I really do care about your success. So, I'm happy to spread the wealth, and that's the reality of it. I mean, if you look on certain search phrases, I know who the members are because I know their shop names. Some of them are right on my tail everywhere, so I find it very very intriguing. I'm like, I taught them how to do this, and now they're using it against me. That's the reality of it. Okay, so a lot of times I'm like doing a search, like I do SEO stuff, whatever. And sometimes I check on certain listings, especially if it's new ones, blah blah, and I search and I look and I see that some of my members are next to me, and I look at Jess. I'm like, look, my members, she's like, you taught them. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just saying. So I make, I say some ill-mannered words about you for a moment as a joke, and then I move on, Anyway. Okay. And by the way, there's some people out there that actually do much bigger revenue on Etsy than Amazon. Interesting. And it's either because they're not utilizing the platform, Amazon platform in the best way, or really their market's better on Etsy, which is a little hard to believe, but nonetheless, it could be trure, okay? Meg says, do you pay for advertising on Amazon? Absolutely. I wouldn't go without it. I think you guys should absolutely do so. There's a little, you have to play around with it for a little bit, but it's absolutely worth investing time. Not one of those things where you're like, let me throw money at it and see kind of what happens. Well, maybe in the beginning when you're getting used to it, so you really don't know what you're doing. If you do have my Amazon webinar, check out the advertising section. Okay, this is exactly what I do, those exact methods, okay? Montana, I didn't think that my products would do well on Amazon. It took a while to get a good flow, but now I have trouble keeping up with the amount of orders I get. I do want to mention, I want to piggyback on that, Montana, and I said again, for myself, the same thing. I didn't think I would do well on Amazon. I'm doing fantastic, right? And so I want you guys to know that, yes, you have to give it a try. And in the beginning, it does start to snowball. Somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was Adita, that she just has 30 products listed and just got a sale. And I forget the exact, comment it was, but I'm assuming that she wants more sales. The reality is there's other things that make it work, okay? Having much more products, a variety of products, really does help you, okay? So one, if you only have a variety of 30 products in your shop completely, that's another issue we should discuss. Could somebody certainly be successful on Amazon with just 30 products? Yes, if it's a wide variety, okay? But as far as it's using a wide variety of keywords, if you keep using the word personalized stationery and note cards and blah, blah for all 30, then you're going to have some trouble, okay? So, and also depending on how much money you want to make. But if you just recently listed, you have to be patient. I talk with a lot of members. I'm not sure if there's one in particular I remember who messaged me a couple weeks ago, and in a funny way, she's just like, I just want to apologize because I was that impatient member when I first rolled out on Amazon. It was only 2 weeks. I put my Amazon listings. I was like wondering when my sale's going to come, when's my sale going to come? And now she's doing really well. And that was a few months ago, okay? And again, everybody's journey is different on Amazon, okay? But just know if you put in the work, especially if you have the Amazon webinar and the work I teach you, it will take some time. Anyway, so like I said, there's a lot more cons, but don't be fooled by that number. By far, even with 3 pros, they outweigh the cons greatly, especially with the income potential on Amazon. And so I'm here telling you that if you're not selling on Amazon, get to it. Make a plan for it. You don't have to do it tomorrow, but do it as soon as possible. We're in the new year now. I mean, not really. We're almost halfway. And so if you want to hit the holiday rush, don't be those people who I have to beg to go on Amazon, by the end of October. Like, come on, do it, do it as soon as possible. We never have time for anything, right? We're very, very busy. And I just want to make sure that you plan on getting those listings up to have multiple income streams, okay? This may be unrelated to your topic right now, but I've been wanting to ask you this. If I need to overhaul a listing, redo the SEO entirely, is it better to redo a listing and just deactivate the listing or set up a new one on Etsy and Amazon? I just redo the listing. That's what I do. I don't think there's any benefit. I think there might be a negative to just making a new listing because there might be some listing quality to that old one, FYI. If it's a different product, then yeah, you have to make a new one. But if it's not, I would redo that listing. You could deactivate and then edit and then reactivate afterwards. But who cares? Like, I would just edit while it's still live. And usually the edit to one listing doesn't take me over a day. So just edit it and then, and then just save it, and that's it, Anna, I'm having a dilemma with selling on Amazon FBA. I forgot to make that as a pro, by the way, Amazon FBA. I don't use it personally because my products are personalized, but, and the other products are not personalized. They're too small a price point. So fantastic pro, by the way. Amazon FBA could really help increase sales. But anyway, I make baby picture outfits, which people are using one time and returning. I sell so fast, but now 3 weeks after Easter, people are returning their baby Easter outfits. Anna, is this only for the Easter holiday, or do you notice this all year round? Because if it is, then you just stop doing Easter outfits. Obviously, there's probably a better solution than to stop doing Easter outfits. You could do a customized one, so if they are able to choose certain colors of the Easter outfits, then I think it falls under custom, which you don't have to accept returns on. That's what I'm thinking. But somebody might have a better solution. I probably shouldn't be answering this during a Facebook Live because it might take me some time to think. But my question is, Anna, if it gets returned and it's still resellable, you obviously can tell because it's after Easter, but is it not an outfit that can be used after? I don't know. And yes, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, people that live in the US, it's easier because your items ship quicker. If you have items that people need in immediate hurry, then certainly you could lose the sale, okay, depending on what you sell. I have purchased items on Amazon, believe it or not, that took a while to get here and I was okay with it. They were books, and so to piggyback on that, there were certainly unique items. There were books I couldn't find besides getting from the seller. And in my defense, I didn't know it was going to take so long, but I ended up doing so and I was okay with it. I just was tracking it and I was fine. I was okay with it. So not everybody needs that quick shipping. Not just with my own experience, but I know this from other people, but it just depends on what you sell. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I'm going to end this call. So again, Amazon equals good. That's the result of this Facebook Live. But yes, you should understand that there's pros and cons to it, and know that when you do end up selling on it, because Dahlia convinced you to, you will run into some of these cons, okay? And you have to keep up, otherwise Amazon will kick you out, okay? And that's another technically con, because you could build a livelihood on Amazon. If they take it away from you, you could be screwed. Okay, guys, let me make sure to send another comment to the comment world before I end this live. I hope you guys enjoyed this Facebook Live and really consider selling on Amazon sooner than later, okay? But I wanted to inform you of the pros and cons so you make the right decision for you. I'm not going to force you to sell on there, just FYI. Margie says, do you suggest keeping your prices the same on all platforms? Yes. Margie, I'm so excited that I did it now rather than later. Nothing to lose but some time. I got my first sale within a week. Etsy experience and Dahlia's Facebook Lives helped so much. Awesome. Love that. Love hearing that. You just got it done. And I told people before that just do like a listing a day if you don't have that much time, which sounds really annoying, but it's better than you complaining for 30 days and having nothing up, right? And start with the most popular. That's what I like to do. Okay, I'm there for 4 weeks with no sales. It's a completely new SEO to me. I have so much to learn. And yeah, I mean, obviously, if you don't have the Amazon webinar, it could be a little harder. But you have to keep at it. There's definitely potential. And again, it may also vary depending on what product type you sell, you know? The thing about Amazon that scares me is the personalization aspect of my products. Why? Why, Gabby? Why? I have personalization. I do just dandy, okay? Me and my assistant realize sometimes when an order comes through that left confusion for the customer, we edit listings to make sure that we fix it so there's no issues going forward, okay? So if you're worried that somebody might type in personalization that's not allowed, you have to edit, okay? How about adding a tag to outfit? Are you talking about the Easter thing? I saw selling on FBA, so Easter was my first big holiday. Okay, Halloween is also really big for me, so I'm nervous that I'll have the same issue. Potentially, I just don't know what other sellers do when it comes to FBA and seasonal items. I'm wondering if you joined a regular Amazon FBA group, people with more experience with this type of stuff. There are groups out there like that, Anna. You can check and see what they recommend. I think that's a really good tip right there. Yes, it's all I do in there as well, Meg. So Gabby, do it. Yeah, but I think it is returnable, Stacy. I think they allow to return baby clothing, but if it's a custom item, I think it's fine. So David says, sell on Amazon, but unless you sell what he does, then stay away from Amazon. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a fantastic day, and bye.